Field just announced the beta rollout of the Leo AiRM, our AI powered relationship management tool that was first teased at Rise back in November. I have been on the waitlist for this and just got access, so I'm breaking it all down for you today. All right. So the idea behind the Leo AiRM is instead of a CRM, it's an AiRM, an AI powered relationship management tool that's built inside reZEN. It's designed to handle like inbound buyer inquiries and buyer conversations at scale. So there's going to be a few different ways to use it. So right now it's a text-based platform. And so you can text a number that you register for. And in the future, you can also do like QR codes on your yard signs and different ways to basically get conversations going with clients. It's been in development since Rise or even before Rise, but this was announced at Rise back in November and the beta rollout has started. It is free right now during beta, but it's going to be a $4 a month fee once it is fully released to the company. First up is when you can go ahead and like register your number and do all of that. And so I just did that. So what you will see in reZEN if you're a real agent is basically a thing that says like, hey, you've been selected for the AiRM beta. Your client concierge you can have a custom URL. You'll have an AI phone where Leo can handle text 24/7. So when you start your setup, basically what you're going to do is click start setup and it's going to prompt you to choose your landing page URL. You could make that your name. I chose, my username. So I did heyleo.com/move me to Texas. Website is available. So I hit next. And then you can search for your city or your area code for phone numbers. 713 is like the original Houston area codes, like that didn't work, but 281 did. And so I was able to pick a phone number. And so even if right now you text 281-729-4974, you could have a conversation with Leo if you wanted to. You will need to make sure that you're adding in like your service area or service areas. And then you can change your profile picture or your headshot if you want to, or use the one that is currently in reZEN right now. You'll add a little bio and then you will review setup. You'd make sure that your address and everything is spelled right. Your number is one that you like because this can't be changed after you set it up and that you agree to all of the different terms and privacy policy and everything like that. And so once you get it set up, you can first of all try it yourself and text it, see how Leo handles conversations. All right, so let's break down how this actually works and walk through kind of like the buyer experience step by step. So I text and basically said like, hey, I'm interested in a house. And Leo responds and it's like, hey there, I'm Leo, your personal AI concierge, powered by Caitlin Alyssa Day. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or exploring options, here to guide you through every step. To narrow things down, where are you looking? What does that look like? So I responded with the different areas that I would want, the budget range, bedrooms and bathrooms. And so then it says like, hey, I found, a certain amount of homes in that price point. You can click here to open them up. And so I click and I open them up and it takes me into my browser. And then you can scroll through and just see. And if you're not very specific on like the zip codes or the neighborhoods, then it may just give you kind of everything all over like your MLS or your area. And it has them. What I like about these is as you have them on the dashboard, you can kind of like swipe through and look at different photos. And so it asks like, hey, are there any specific neighborhoods that you prefer? And so I ended up giving it some zip codes that I know. Obviously, like a lot of consumers or buyers don't always know all of the zip codes. So they may say neighborhoods or things like that. But, I gave it a few different zip codes that, I would want to live in if I were making a move. And then it sends me different properties. Hey, based on those zip codes, here are some, and it narrows it down for me. I can look at the map and I can also click on the little list to look at them as a list. And then again, swipe through for photos, look at different things. And when you click on each listing, it'll give you like some highlights, pulling out using AI to basically pull out features from the description and the photos. It'll show me other things that are around there. And then all of the details that you would normally find on a listing profile page from the MLS, where it's pulling like garages and types of flooring and different stuff like that. And so you can kind of give the homes thumbs up or thumbs down if you like them and it looks good or it's not quite your preferences as you go through each of these. And so I continued to go through these. I continued to say, hey, like I saw some of these were 3 or 4 stories. I would like 2 stories or less. And then I also said like, hey, I also want something that's less than 10 years old, but if it's older, perhaps I would want it to be renovated. And so what was interesting about this is when I said that, then Leo says, okay, hey, well, I'll give you two separate lists. These are 2016 or newer properties, and then these are older properties, but they say they've been renovated. And so, if you're familiar with these areas, oftentimes a lot of the properties are like older or lot value. And so I continue to kind of go back and forth with Leo and have conversation on what I liked and didn't like about the properties. I thumbs up and thumbs down some of the properties. Also, like maybe it's my price point. So I could maybe go up a little bit in price. So could you show me things a little bit higher? I went back and forth with like some things, and when you think about this from like a buyer perspective, a lot of times when you're working with a client, like they have an initial criteria, but then as you look at more and more homes, like they start to add in more things. I think that it's interesting to kind of go through this and see kind of what, when you add in what you like and don't like what actually pops up. So I just got access to this yesterday and set all of this up. So I only had the one conversation. But what's really cool about this is from a long-term perspective, a buyer texts with Leo, says what they're looking for. Leo responds instantly and gives matching properties. And then not just from what buyers say, but how they interact, like thumbs up, thumbs down, and like time spent on properties. Leo's going to then learn preferences over time and understand what buyers are looking for, and then proactively reach back out when new listings come up, when price drops happen, or open houses match what it's learned. As an agent, you're going to see everything in the AiRM portal, all the conversations, every insights and messages and things like that. And so what does this mean for you as an agent? You can nurture more buyers. I think oftentimes when we run ads or we have leads that come in, they are more top of funnel leads. They're not necessarily ready to buy today. And to be honest, like we drop the ball, right? Like even if someone says, hey, I'm ready to buy today, like you may screw it up. I like the idea of using this with a lead form or on social of like, hey, if you're just browsing, have a conversation with this and it'll send you properties. And then you can actually show up for like the times that matter. It positions you to look more responsive. Then what I want to show you now is kind of like the back end and what I see as an agent. And so right now I'm in reZEN. You see in the top left-hand corner, it says AiRM Portal. And so when I click on this, I have messages here. This is the full text conversation, all of the messages that came back and forth. So like, I'm interested in house. We kind of went through all of this already. If I know who this person is and have had a conversation with them, then maybe I add in some additional insights. And so here are some examples of things that you could say, right? Like focus on homes with large backyards, skip properties on busy streets, timeline is firm, needs to make quick decisions. So I could add additional insights based on either a buyer consult, or maybe it's like DM conversations, or they came into an open house, like notes and things like that I can add into here. The other thing here is you see this little one right here. And so at the end of the conversation, basically I came in here. I said, hey there, thanks for searching. Wanted to check in and see if you want to check any of these out this weekend. And then I responded, but the buyer responded, said, yeah, I'm open. Which one would you like to see? Let me know an address and a time that works for you. And then the buyer says, hey, there was one that I favorited, but I don't remember. And then it was like, hey, here are a few of the newer construction ones. Do any of these work? Oh, it was 4902 Oak Forest. And so then a little bug, it didn't ask what day and time. It just said, hey, Saturday at noon. Obviously, the buyer could then say like, hey, that day doesn't work or that time doesn't work. But if we just make the assumption that the client wanted to see the property on Saturday at noon, I can come in here to this and it says, hey, they want to see 4902 Oak Forest Drive. I can click on the little link there and it will take me over to the property and show me the actual property itself so I can look at the photos. If I have scheduled this showing, I can dismiss this and it will be gone from my notification. All right, so let's talk about if you are an agent at Real, how you get access. So if your MLS supports Leo AiRM, if you go into reZEN, you can click the AiRM portal and hit join waitlist. Real is working to have all of the regions live by the end of this summer. Beta is rolling out gradually and activation emails are going out kind of in waves through the waitlist. This is early, right? But I think that this is a very meaningful signal of like where Real is heading as far as AI. And so we've had Leo as far as support and for broker support, and the brokers have trained broker Leo, and our support team is trained support Leo. And so this is just another iteration of how Leo is going to help to empower us as agents to be able to focus more on working with our clients, going out in person with them, having conversations with them, and being belly to belly with actual humans. And so it's not necessarily replacing the entire consumer experience or customer experience, but it's helping us to focus on the conversations that matter. If you want to learn more about Real, or if you have questions about Leo, AiRM, shoot me a message and I'll catch you on the next video.